When America was still finding its architectural voice, the Dupont family was already speaking fluent French château. Thus, their estates, scattered like precious jewels across the northeast, tell a story of American ambition filtered through European refinement. But these weren't mere imitations. They were bold reimaginings of what wealth could accomplish in the New World. Certainly, from Nemours' limestone grandeur to Longwood's horticultural innovations, each mansion represents a unique chapter in America's journey from industrial powerhouse to cultural sophisticate. In today's episode of Old Money Mansions, we explore these magnificent properties, discovering how one family's pursuit of perfection helped define American luxury and transformed private wealth into public treasure. First on our list of old money mansions of the Dupont family is set in the rolling hills of Delaware's Brandywine Valley. Indeed, Nemours Estate, that magnificent feat of early 20th century architectural bravado, wasn't just built, it was conjured into existence by Alfred I. Dupont as the ultimate grand gesture for his second wife, Alicia. The year was 1909, and while other American industrialists were busy building mere mansions, Dupont commissioned the renowned architectural firm Carrère and Hastings to create nothing less than an authentic Louis XVI-style château on American soil. Named for the French town of Nemours, the ancestral home of Dupont's illustrious great-great-grandfather, Pierre Samuel Dupont de Nemours. This 105-room masterpiece makes most modern-day mega-mansions look positively quaint in comparison. Spread across 4 impeccably designed floors, the mansion stands as one of America's finest examples of French architectural adaptation, though adaptation feels like an understatement when you're standing before this limestone legend. The estate's true coup de grâce lies in its jardin à la française, where formal French gardens unfold like a geometric dream across part of the original 400-acre expanse. Here, perfectly manicured boxwoods frame vistas that seem to stretch to infinity, while the long walk draws the eye toward what might be the largest private reflecting pool this side of the Atlantic. And the garden's piece de résistance is a network of fountains that would make even the Sun King's hydraulic engineers tip their tricorn hats in respect. Step inside, and you'll find yourself wandering through a museum-worthy collection that would have antiques dealers reaching for their smelling salts. The mansion houses genuine 18th century French furniture that would look right at home in the Louvre, including clocks that once kept time for Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette themselves. Each room tells a story of unabashed Francophilia filtered through the lens of American industrial wealth. Between 2005 and 2008, this architectural grande dame received a $39 million facelift, the kind of renovation budget that would make even today's luxury real estate developers blush. Every element, from the smallest tassel on a period-appropriate curtain to the grandest marble fireplace, was meticulously restored to its original glory. The project included the refurbishment of furniture, fabrics, tapestries, interior finishes, paintings, and sculptures, not to mention an extensive landscape restoration that would have kept an entire army of gardeners employed for years. But Nemours isn't just a pretty face in Delaware's architectural portfolio. In a twist that would warm even the coldest Gilded Age heart, Alfred I. Dupont's legacy extended far beyond mere architectural splendor. His will established the Alfred I. Dupont Testamentary Trust in 1936, which through its sole beneficiary, the Nemours Foundation, would transform into one of the nation's largest pediatric health systems. The first institute, the Alfred I. Dupont Institute, opened its doors in 1940 as a pediatric orthopedic hospital, proving that sometimes the most enduring monuments aren't built in stone, but in service to others. Today, the estate spans 200 magnificent acres and, since opening to the public in 2008, following its extensive renovation, has fulfilled Dupont's wish for others to enjoy his Franco-American fantasy. Though one imagines he'd be particularly pleased to know that his passion project has been preserved with such exacting attention to detail. Therefore, In an era when hybrid working typically refers to splitting time between home and office, Nemours Estate remains America's ultimate hybrid. A French château with American ambition, a pleasure palace with a philanthropic heart, and a reminder that sometimes the grandest gestures of love can last for centuries. For our second old money mansion of the Dupont family, we go to another location in the rolling hills of Delaware's Brandywine Valley. There sits an additional Dupont architectural marvel that would make even the most seasoned aesthete weak in the knees. You see, the estate's story begins in 1839 when Jacques-Antoine and Evelina Dupont Biedermann built a graceful 12-room Greek Revival manor house. It would take the visionary spirit of their successor, Henry Francis Dupont, to transform this elegant residence into the magnificent 175-room mansion we know today. Dupont's genius lay not in mere expansion, but in creating a harmonious whole that celebrates the finest of American craftsmanship and design. The estate's sprawling 1,000 acres of pristine landscape serve as nature's own gallery, with 70 acres devoted to spectacular gardens that reflect both artistic vision and horticultural expertise. These gardens represent a remarkable collaboration between Dupont and renowned landscape architect Marion Kruger Coffin, whose combined talents created a naturalistic paradise that unfolds season by season. From spring's exuberant azalea displays to autumn's contemplative color palette, the grounds offer an ever-changing canvas of botanical artistry. And inside, and you'll find yourself traversing what is arguably America's finest collection of decorative arts, housed in rooms that serve as masterclasses in historical interior design. The Marlborough Room achieves that rare balance of grandeur and intimacy, while the Chinese parlor showcases Dupont's sophisticated eye for combining diverse decorative elements into a cohesive whole. The transformation from private residence to public museum in 1951 marked not just a change in ownership, but a paradigm shift in how America preserves and presents its decorative arts heritage. Each room tells a story, carefully curated by Dupont himself, who approached interior design with the precision of a surgeon and the eye of an artist. His attention to detail was legendary. One imagines him deliberating over the placement of each piece until achieving exactly the right effect. Dupont's vision extended beyond mere preservation. In establishing Winterthur's graduate programs in material culture and art conservation, he ensured that future generations would have the tools and knowledge to understand and protect America's decorative arts heritage. These programs, integral to his original plan, continue to produce scholars and conservators who carry forward his legacy of expertise and appreciation. Today, Winterthur stands as more than just a museum. It's a living laboratory where the past continues to inform the present. Students and scholars prowl its halls, much like Dupont himself once did, seeking to unlock the secrets held within its walls. To walk through Winterthur is to experience American decorative arts at their zenith, assembled by a man who understood that true elegance lies not in ostentation, but in the perfect marriage of form and function. For our third entry, we hop over to the great state of Pennsylvania, wherein lies a horticultural masterpiece that began with one man's prescient desire to save a collection of trees. When industrialist Pierre S. Dupont purchased a sprawling 402-acre farm in 1906, he was driven not by grandeur but by preservation, specifically of an arboretum whose ancient specimens faced the logger's axe. The land itself held a rich history, having been originally purchased by George Pierce in 1700 and cultivated by generations of his family before Dupont's intervention saved it from destruction. Dupont, scion of the eponymous chemical dynasty, may have started with preserving trees, but his vision soon grew as verdant as the grounds themselves. By 1907, he had already begun leaving his mark with the installation of the 600-foot flower garden walk, a promenade that would set the tone for the masterwork to come. The property's transformation accelerated in 1914 with the addition of his first conservatory, an elegant glass extension to the original farmhouse that whispered of grander things to come. The real architectural drama unfolded in 1921 with the completion of the main conservatory, whose soaring glass peaks and intricate metalwork created a cathedral of chlorophyll housing an astounding 4,600 types of plants and trees. Dupont, who had been inspired by the great conservatories of Europe, insisted on incorporating cutting-edge technology, including a sophisticated heating system that was revolutionary for its time. Perhaps nothing speaks to Dupont's flair for theatrical gardening quite like the open-air theatre, unveiled in 1914. This verdant venue, with its ingenious hydraulic stage floor and hidden fountains, transformed from a serene garden space to an aquatic spectacle at the touch of a button, a feature that continues to delight visitors today. Not to be outdone, the no longer extant Italian water garden brought the refinement of Renaissance design to Pennsylvania's countryside, its symmetrical pools and fountains creating a mesmerizing display of aquatic artistry. The crown jewel in this horticultural diadem arrived in 1931 with the main fountain garden. Dupont, ever the innovator, incorporated state-of-the-art hydraulic and illumination systems that would have made Versailles' fountain engineers weep with envy. The garden's 2017 revitalization, a cool $90 million undertaking, proves that Longwood's commitment to spectacle remains unwavering. Music, too, found its home at Longwood. The 1923 music room and the ballroom, complete with its massive 10,000 10-pipe organ, hosted countless soirees where the elite of the Gilded Age mingled amid the greenery. Today, these spaces continue to resonate with hundreds of performances annually, mixing classical refinement with botanical splendor. Additionally, in 1937, Dupont ensured his paradise would endure by establishing the Longwood Foundation, transforming his private Eden into a public institution dedicated to horticultural excellence and education. Since his passing in 1954, Longwood has blossomed beyond even his ambitious dreams, welcoming over 1 million visitors annually since 2012, culminating in a record-breaking 1.6 million visitors in 2022. Thus, what began as one man's arboreal rescue mission has evolved into a 1,000-acre testament to the intersection of nature and human ingenuity. Where presidential gravitas meets equestrian grandeur, Montpelier exemplifies American history's fascinating ability to reinvent itself. And this storied Virginia estate, originally the sanctuary of James Madison, the nation's fourth president and architect of the Constitution, would later become the canvas for another American dynasty's vision, the Duponts, who transformed this historic property into one of the country's most prestigious equestrian havens. In 1901, when William Dupont acquired Montpelier, he and his wife Annie orchestrated what could be considered one of the Gilded Age's most ambitious residential metamorphoses. The couple's extensive renovations transformed Madison's relatively modest federal-style mansion into an elaborate early 20th century country house that would have made even Newport's summer colonists take notice. With characteristic Dupont flair, they more than doubled the original footprint, adding additional floors above the existing one-story wings and constructing new extensions that stretched gracefully toward the rear of the property. But it was their daughter, Marion Dupont Scott, who would truly put her stamp on Montpellier's legacy. A woman ahead of her time, Marion possessed both the vision and the means to transform the estate's rolling 2,650 acres into an equestrian paradise that would make both British aristocrats and American horse enthusiasts green with envy. In 1929, she inaugurated the Montpelier Hunt races, throwing open the gates to the public and establishing what would become one of the most anticipated events on the Virginia social calendar. The crescendo of Marion's equestrian achievements came in 1938, when her beloved battleship, a compact powerhouse that critics initially dismissed as too small for steeplechasing, became the first American-owned and American-bred horse to triumph in the British Grand National. One can only imagine the satisfaction on Marian's face as her little American showed the British establishment a thing or two about American breeding prowess. From those first races in 1929, the Montpelier hunt races have evolved into a spectacular celebration of all things equestrian, where thoroughbreds thunder across the same grounds that once hosted James Madison's contemplative walks. Now, alongside the serious business of steeplechasing, visitors can delight in the somewhat more whimsical spectacle of Jack Russell Terrier races and children's stick horse competitions, a democratic mixing of high sport and family entertainment that would surely have amused both Madison and Marian. Following Marian's death in 1983, Montpelier entered its next chapter when, according to her wishes, the estate was bequeathed to the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Today, the property maintains its dual identity with remarkable grace, part presidential shrine, part equestrian mecca. Visitors can tour the meticulously preserved mansion where Madison's intellectual legacy lives on, while just beyond, the thunder of hooves continues to echo across the Virginia countryside, particularly during the annual hunt races held on the first Saturday in November. This remarkable estate stands as a unique amalgam of American history, where the philosophical foundations of democracy were once debated in candlelit rooms, and where, years later, the sport of kings found its American home. In Montpelier, we find a rare marriage of presidential gravitas and sporting pageantry, each legacy enriching the other in unexpected ways. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Have you visited any of these Dupont family mansions? And which is your favorite? We love hearing your unique taste below, so don't be shy and let us know your opinion. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Old Money Mansions, and cheers until next time.